All right, let's do this. I'm going to see if I can teach this lesson online, so hang in there with me. You should all have in front of you your ratio table notes. This lesson is not going to be anything new for any of you because all you're doing is finding equivalent ratios, which most of you are very, very good at. Okay, so I think I have some tools to write on this, so I'm going to try to just write in the answers. Okay, so let's go over some vocabulary first. First, we have the word ratio table. Ratio table. All it is, draw a little thing here, is a table. Uh-oh, how do I make it smaller? Oh, geez. Let's just write it in. Ratio table. Yep, a table that can be used to find and organize equal ratios or equivalent ratios. Okay, we're just showing a relationship between two things. Okay, equivalent ratios are ratios that describe the same what? This is relationship. Relationship. This is not the relationship like you and your boyfriend and your girlfriend. This is just comparing two different ratios. Okay? All right. Guided notes. Let's talk about the guided notes section. All right, here we go. It's finding the missing, or to fill in a ratio table, you're doing the exact same thing that you were doing when you were finding equivalent ratios. To fill in a ratio table, you're going to either make the fraction bigger by multiplying, holy cow, I'm zooming in, multiply, or you're going to make that fraction smaller by dividing. Okay? So you're either going to multiply or you're going to divide. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual table. So it says find the missing value in the ratio table below. First, you need to look at the table and see what it's asking you to find. What do we know already? We know that we're comparing how many teachers to how many students. So look at it. How many teachers do they have in the classroom? They have 2. For every 2 teachers there are, how many students are there? There are 5. Wouldn't that be nice if you had 2 teachers for every 5 students? Okay, then they're showing the relationship. They're saying, well, what if we increase the students to 15 students? So that means the students are getting bigger or smaller? Yeah, they're getting bigger, which means we're either multiplying and dividing. Which one are we doing? You should have said multiplying. So I'm going to draw a little arrow here. Hold on, let me get on my tool. We're going from, I like to do this, 5, oops, where is my pen? 5 to 15. You're thinking in your head, what is happening from 5 to 15? We know it's getting bigger, so we must be multiplying. 5 times what number gives us 15? This is where you really need to know your math facts. Or you can count by 5s to 15. 5, 10, 15. You should have got 3. Remember, ratios are fractions. So this is the same as 2/5 and blank over 15. Okay, so whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So now I'm going to take my numerator and I'm going to multiply by 3. Okay, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So what is 2 times 3? You could have said 6. So what this means is that if we increase the number of students to 15, in order to keep that ratio balanced or keep that ratio the same, we have to increase the number of teachers to 6. Okay? All right. Now let's take a look at some more practice. Let me slide down a little bit. we're going to be finding the ratios and rates in these different tables. So we see 3 different tables. Let's take a look at the one at the top. It looks like when we're looking at the table, we're comparing 2 things. What 2 things in that top table are we comparing? We should have said we're comparing apples to oranges. Okay, I notice that I see a fraction there. It looks like there are 12 apples for every 24 oranges. Again, a rate table is just an equivalent ratio or a fraction, so that is the same as saying 12 24ths. Okay, and then we notice in the next section, the apples go down to 3. So if it is going down, are we multiplying or dividing? Well, let me get my tool here. You should say if it's going down from 12 to 3 that you are dividing. Okay, so 12 divided by what number is 3? And if you're not quite sure, you can draw 12 dots and you can put them into groups of 3 and see how many groups you have. But you should have said 12 divided by 4 is the same as 3. Again, these are fractions, so this is the same as 12 24ths over 3 something. We don't know. So whatever we did to that numerator, we're going to have to do it to the bottom here. Divide by 4, and you can type into your calculator 24 divided by 4, or you might know it already. What is 24 divided by 4? You should say 6. So that means if we decrease the apples to 3, our oranges have to decrease to 6. Okay, you can check to make sure your ratio table is correct by cross multiplication. And I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Let me exit this. All right, next ratio. We're comparing fish to cats, which is not good because cats eat fish, so I don't know why we would do that, but sure. Okay, you can notice that we have 5 fish for every, or 5 fish to 6 cats. If you look at our table, it looks like we're getting bigger. We're changing cats from 6 to 12. If I'm changing from 6 to 12, am I getting bigger or smaller? We should say bigger. And 6 times what gives me 12? 6 times 2 gives you 12. Whatever we do to the bottom, we got to do to the top. 5 times 2 is 10, which means 5/6 is the same as 10/12. Okay, this ratio table has another section. We're now going from our 10 we just figured out to 20. That's getting bigger again. We must be multiplying. That ratio is still the same, though. So we're still multiplying by 2. So if we did 10 times 2 is 20, what's 12 times 2? 2 groups of 12 should be 24. Okay, so don't let the table scare you. If they're a little bit bigger, it just means that you're going to continue your ratios or your equivalent fractions. All you're doing is making equivalent fractions, which is the same thing we have been doing for over a week. Okay, last table says juice and soda, 3 juices to 4 sodas. It looks like we are getting bigger, so let me get my tool out here. We're going from 3 to 9, which means we're multiplying because we're getting bigger. 3 times what gives you 9? 3 times 3 gives you 9. Remember, these are just fractions. So now we need to take the bottom times 3. And what's 4 times 3? We should get 12. Okay, this one, I see I'm getting bigger, so I'm definitely multiplying. But I know when I count by 12s, I don't get 40. And it's a little bit easier for me to use this 4 here. So I'm going from 4 to 40. 4 times what gives me 40? Because remember, I'm getting bigger, so I'm multiplying. 4 times 10 gives me 40. So let's go to the top. Now it's 3. We got to do the same thing up here. 3 times 10. What's 3 times 10? 30. Again, you can check your work by using cross multiplication. Okay, one more together. This one's a word problem. Do not let a word problem freak you out. It says it takes Jacqueline 2 hours to make 9 bracelets. What two things are we comparing? You should say we're comparing hours to bracelets. I'm going to write that. Ow. Oops, let me get my blue out. There we go. Come on, man. Hours to bracelets. This thing does not like me. Bracelets. Okay. We have 2 hours and 9 bracelets. Create a ratio table to help you find out how many bracelets she can make in 8 hours. Okay, so we got to decide. Where are we putting the 8 hours? Are we putting it on the top or the bottom? You should have said top because hours got to go with hours. So this is going to be an 8. Looks like we're getting bigger. 2 times what gives me 8? Could have said 4. So down here, what's 9 times 4? It said 36. Okay, so in 8 hours, I know that Jacqueline can make 36 bracelets. Again, I'm just getting bigger and making an equivalent fraction. Then it says, use the table to find out how long to make 81 bracelets. Now I'm talking about 81 bracelets. So the 81 goes on the bottom because we're talking about bracelets. And we're going from 9 to 81. Use your chart. 9 times 9 gives you 81. So let's do 2 times 9. What's 2 times 9? 2 groups of 9. 18. Okay, so you can use these different ratios in order to figure out how long it will take people to make certain things. Okay, which is a really cool skill. Definitely for when you're working in businesses, and I'll tell you a lot about that when I get back. Your job right now is to complete these ratio tables. You may use your calculator. Some of them are going to be multiplication. Some of them are going to be division. Okay, so this should be on the back of your notes. Okay, good work today, guys. I forgot one last thing. I forgot to go over our next activity, so I'm going to kind of switch gears here. When you are done on Canvas, I have a fortune teller activity for you. You can work with a partner, but you have to submit your own copy on Canvas. And here's what you're going to do. So fortune tellers answer questions for you. So in this box in the center here, right here, you're going to ask 5 yes or no questions. For example, is so-and-so going to be my girlfriend? You could type that in there. Has to be yes or no, okay? It has to be school appropriate though, please, so just remember that. And this is just supposed to be fun, okay? Then, after you type your questions in here, you're going to look over here. There are going to be 5 questions you have to answer. There are going to be ratio questions. You are going to have to set up your ratio table and figure out the missing fraction. Remember, you have to write them the way that you read them. And I would like labels on them so you can figure out where to put your fractions. When you figure out your answer, you're going to type in these blocks, and if it turns green, you're correct. If it is red, then you're incorrect and you need to change your answer. So work with your partner to try to figure it out. You can use the calculator for this part too. And then the fortune teller will answer one of your questions. So the first question then, it'll give you a yes or no whether your fortune is read correctly. Okay? And then you're going to go on to the next one. You can change to question number 2. You can answer it here. Change to question number 3. See how you can scroll. But you have to go in order. When you're done, you're going to submit for me. And then the only other thing that you have for the rest of the period is you have 2 choices. You can do iReady, or you can do 100% assignment, which I know some of you are done already. Okay, you will owe me 40 minutes of iReady this week, and I'll let you know who completed that for last week. All right, again, hopefully I'm there tomorrow. If I am not, we're just going to keep on trucking along, and I'll be back as soon as I can. All right, guys, miss you. See you soon.